One of the nastiest feuds in presidential politics right now, Jeb Bush versus Donald Trump. Over the weekend, the former GOP frontrunner Bush and the current frontrunner Trump unleashed on each other.
He's an embarrassment to the Bush family, and in fact, he doesn't even want to use the Bush name, which is interesting. Jeb is an embarrassment to himself and to his family.
I got to get this off my chest. Donald Trump is a jerk.
Wow, fighting words from both sides. Join me now from Washington, David Avella, the chairman of GOPAC, and from Grass Valley, California, Mark Meckler, the president of Citizens for Self-Governance. Start with you, Mark. Your thoughts on this? They're upping the rhetoric now.
Well, I mean, I think it's standard rhetoric for Donald Trump. It's just how he speaks and the way he is. And I think Bush entering this game with Trump, it's a losing game for him. He's playing outside of his personality, outside of his normal game, and it doesn't work for him.
David, I have to agree with Mark here. When, you know, in sports, when you're inside someone's head, you usually own them, you usually win. It seems like Trump is up inside Bush's head right now.
Eric, this back and forth of personal attacks between Governor Bush and Donald Trump are really opening the door for Ted Cruz and for Marco Rubio. History is littered with elections where the two frontrunners have gone at each other with personal attacks, and it opens the door for someone to come up the middle with a good conservative message that can unite people, which is what we need to do to beat Hillary Clinton, unite different coalitions within the party. And as we get closer and closer to the first votes being counted in Iowa, Donald Trump has now been the front runner since June or July. He is the one who most can't afford a loss in Iowa. So if you're looking at where the stakes are highest and who has the highest stakes in Iowa, right now it's Mr. Trump.
So the thought, Mark, being that if you're ahead, don't do anything that would ruin that lead, like stepped up rhetoric. That might not be the case with Donald Trump, though. It seems like the more he does, the more he leads.
I think we've seen that before. We watched our last candidate. We watched Mitt Romney do great in that first debate. He really kicked some butt, and then he sat back, right? He thinks he's got the lead. He plays it safe. That's traditional, old-school GOP politics. It's loser politics, quite frankly. If I were Trump, I'd keep doing what he's doing. It's working phenomenally well. Every time he goes into the fight, his numbers go up. And we talked about a fight between frontrunners. Bush is almost not ran at this point. He's not a frontrunner. This is not a fight.
Let's talk about that for a second. You brought that up, but we have a soundbite of something that shocked me over the weekend. Jeb Bush saying he didn't like being the frontrunner. Listen.
6 months ago, people thought you were the front runner. Your campaign is not the front.
That.
You hated being a front runner?
Yeah, I feel much better back here.
David, really? I don't know anyone that would rather be in at a 3 or a 5 than a 41.
You deal with the cards dealt you, I suppose, and right now that's where Governor Bush is. But look, if Governor Bush is going to be the nominee, he has to get ahead of who is currently the front runner. And right now that is Mr. Trump and Senator Cruz, and in many polls, Senator Rubio are ahead of Jeb. He's got to do something to propel himself, and that's probably why today you saw his new ad out that actually attacks all three of them and tries to make the case for why he would be the strongest commander-in-chief.
Mark, let's talk a little bit about the money that Jeb has spent, somewhere between $30 and $35 million so far. At some point, does he say, all right, look, I tried, we went for it, we spent a lot of money, but it didn't work out?
I mean, I think he should. I think it's nothing but arrogance and hubris that keeps him going. His numbers continue to slide no matter how much money he spends. He's just not rising in the polls. The attacks don't work. They're not of his nature and in his personality. It's just not working. At some point, it's time to throw in the towel. And by the way, his comments that he likes to be at the back, that's called a lie, and people read it. It's what politicians do, and they're sick of it.
Yeah, I'm surprised you went with that. I'd like to be in the back. I can't imagine anyone believed that. What's the point? By the way, if you're looking for a commander-in-chief that has ISIS to contend with, that has an aggressive China to contend with, that has an aggressive Russia and Putin to contend with, and Iran to contend with, I'm not sure leading from behind. I mean, we gave President Obama a hard time for saying he wanted to lead from behind.
Well, I agree with that. Look, the thing is, what people want is they want confidence. That's what they like about Trump. And there's plenty of stuff not to like about Trump. I understand why people find him offensive sometimes. But what they like is he is supremely confident. And in a country that now seems to be lacking confidence at a historic proportion, people are frustrated, people are downtrodden. They want a confident leader. That's what they're getting from Donald Trump right now. That's why I think people find him so appealing.
David, let me ask you this. So there are four viable establishment candidates still running for president, but they're splitting the establishment vote. They're splitting the non-Donald Trump, Ben Carson, Ted Cruz vote. At some point, do they say what's best for the party, the Republican Party, what they believe is that three of them fall out and get behind all their support behind one?
Losing will start doing that, Eric. At this point, there is very little reason, short of someone wanting to be honorable and not go have their campaign go into debt. There's no reason to drop out until the first votes start occurring. But once those first votes start occurring, it's a natural weaning process. Candidates will start dropping out. Look, here is the good news. As national security continues to be a major concern for voters, it's now the #1 issue on most voters' mind. By and large, people favor Republicans overwhelmingly to Democrats. So no matter who our nominee is, and we have a lot of very good, qualified men and women who could potentially be our nominee, every one of them will stack up very well against Hillary Clinton if the #1 issue is national security.
I'm going to start with Mark. Which one the best? Because right now, I think the most recent Pew poll said that 57% of the people disapprove of the job President Obama is doing on terror. Which one feels like the most opposite of President Obama? Very quickly, Mark, you first.
It has got to be Donald Trump, but I also think you have incredibly strong candidates in Cruz and Rubio. They both have a command of foreign policy that would make them good commanders-in-chief.
Okay, David, your thoughts?
All of them, Eric. Every one of them would be radically different or dramatically different than what we have gotten out of President Obama. And the worst thing for Hillary Clinton is now she's parroting all the same messages he has said. Yeah. The worst thing that could have happened for Hillary Clinton is the president made that speech from the Oval Office a few weeks ago because she's saying all the same things he said that night.
I got to leave it right there, gentlemen. Thank you very much.